Christian. Hi, Christian.
Oh, I unmute myself. Hi, do you hear me now?
I can hear and see you. Can you see my Adulting How to Become a Grown Up?
And I already got the book too. I ordered it.
Oh, good. But can you see my my PowerPoint?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes,
good.
and I did get your email too. That was fine. Do you know where this recording is going to? Because maybe I could get a copy of it too, just to throw in my like with all of the other stuff, like workshops that I go to.
Yeah, I'll get you part 1 and I'll get you part 2 as well. How's that sound?
Sweet. Sweet, that's good.
Okay. Okay, we should have 2 more people joining us.
Okay.
So we'll give them till about 5 after, and if they don't jump in, then we will get started. Did you enjoy the first session? You're on mute.
No. Yeah, I think it was very informative for sure.
Yeah, I think it's a great book. I caught my daughter Emma reading it last night. And I said, the first time I got it for her, she had graduated from high school. So it sounds like somebody may be joining us.
I am actually reading another book now, and then I'll have to read that one. So.
Okay.
Anybody else in here yet?
Sounded like we had somebody. I heard a ding dong. So.
He or she's on mute.
I don't think I have to invite them in that I know of. Make sure I don't have somebody out there.
Hi, this is Hillary.
Hi, Hillary. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Good. Hillary, are you dialed in on a phone or are you on a computer?
No, I'm on my computer. Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you. I just can't see you, which is fine.
I don't have a camera.
Okay, well, that's fine. We have one more person that's supposed to log on, and I'm going to wait till 2:05. Hillary, at the end, if you want me to send you my PowerPoint and the recording of this workshop, I can do so. And also, I'll just need to probably get your email address unless you've already shared that with when you made the arrangements to log in.
Okay.
All right, so it is 5 after, so we'll go ahead and get started. This is part 2 of adulting and how to become a grown-up in 535 easy steps. The author, this is actually a book report, more or less, of this book, and it's called How to Become a Grown-Up, written by Kelly Williams Brown, and it's a New York Times bestseller. It's a quick read, and it's about all these different things that we tackle as we're leaving childhood and exploring adulthood. So we'll go ahead and get started. Just a little bit about myself. Welcome to the Rend Lake College Warrior Workshop. My name's Amy Newell. I'm the administrative assistant to the president's office, and I'm also an HR generalist at Rend Lake College. Prior to that, I worked as a record specialist. I have my bachelor's at SIU Carbondale back in 1996, so I've been an adult for a while. I'm a mama to 3 kids, 20-year-old, 17, almost 13 years old. So I'm trying to help them into this transition into adulting. But what makes me an expert to present adulting? Absolutely nothing. However, I just said, I've been where you are maybe, and I'm cheering my children on to embracing and struggling and succeeding with adulting. And I hopefully with this book be able to help you as well. So I talked a little bit about this book, and you can get this book on Amazon. It's $9.49. Like I said, it's a quick, easy read. It's practical sense, and a lot of it is stuff that you might not ever think of doing. But, you know, when you just need to get in check with how to handle relationships, if you're getting your new first place, moving out for the first time, how to maintain certain things, how to move, and just put your mind in the right perspective. It's just a great book. Okay, so the 535-ish steps is a lot of steps. So I broke it down into two workshops. Sit back, you can take some notes, and we're going to go through them very quickly. I'm doing the second half of the steps. Pick a few to tackle. Don't try to tackle them all at once. Remember, life is about baby steps. And once you attempt a step and you feel good about it, go onward and upward and try a couple more steps. If you're done, or if you feel like you succeeded at a step or didn't succeed in a step, that's okay. Go ahead and try again. So if you don't feel like you have succeeded, that's okay. Okay, we're going to start out with maintenance. Maintenance can be a bunch of different things, but first thing we're going to talk about is vehicles. First thing, name your car. Step 267, find a mechanic that you love, or more realistically, one who will not rob you. So if you move to a new area and you know somebody else maybe that lives in that area, get a referral. Don't just blindly go into a mechanic shop. 268, avoid used car lots in favor of private sellers. Step 269, do not buy a used European car. Step 270, do buy a used Japanese car or American if you feel so moved. Step 271, take it to a mechanic to look over it before you purchase a car. Step 272, do not skip oil changes. They will catch up with you. Step 273, know how to check your car's oil. Step 274, keep a quart of oil, some coolant, and a rag in your car for emergencies. Step 275, get a scheduled maintenance every 30,000 miles or as indicated in your owner's manual. So when you buy a car, spend just even a half hour going through your owner's manual, highlight maybe some of the things that really stick out to you, like how many miles after a certain maintenance, any red. Step 276, watch warning lights, especially the red ones. This usually means there's something wrong. 277, get new tires when necessary. Getting new tires is expensive, so it's something that you would need to save for probably and have it in your emergency fund. But new tires can make a big difference on whether you would get in a wreck or not. Actually, I just saw a story on that. If you have tires with a good grip and you hit your brakes, you could stop in a shorter amount of time, distance-wise, and it could really make a difference about whether or not you actually make impact in a wreck. Step 278, this is going into clothing, and it says don't be wrinkled. 279, let your deodorant dry before you put on clothing. You can be the best dressed person in a room. If you have deodorant marks on your clothes, all the effort that you just went through, your clothes are going to be marked up. Step 280, wash most things in cold water as a general rule. Also 281, sort by colors to wash. 282, master the hand washing. That's something that we are all learning again and revisiting, especially during this COVID time. Step 283, don't throw everything in the dryer. Step 284, use hairspray to get stains out. That's something that I learned a long time ago. Hairspray and a fix can get ink out and other soils. Step 285, use vinegar to get the smells out. Everybody, even I, washer to the dryer and something happens and it doesn't get done. Vinegar can take, if you have to rewash it, throw in some vinegar or some baking soda and it will get the smell out of your clothes. Or if you just have something that is very smelly that you need to wash, vinegar or baking soda would work. Step 286, get over your fear of bleach. Step 287, if you're going to wear white, think twice about ordering a chili dog or something that is going to be very messy. So commit to wearing white if you're going to wear it. Step 288, if something is delicate or squishable, find a way to store it safely. Step 289, hang up or fold things as they prefer. So if you have a jumpsuit or something very long, chances are it will do better being hung up than folded up where it could get more wrinkled. Step 290, store jewelry like the expensive thing it is. Don't just throw it on your bedside table where it's going to roll off and maybe be lost forever. Step 292, find a good tailor. Step 293, before you write it off as ruined, take it to the dry cleaners. They have all kinds of tricks of the trade to save garments. Step 294, if it's going to be indoors, get a house plant, not the outdoor kind. 295, step out or find out how often your plant wishes to be watered and do not overwater it. Step 296, do not repot them right away. Step 297, repot when they become root bound. So they're talking a lot about houseplants, and there's one of my favorite apps is Pinterest. And then of course you can Google and find out all kinds of different things about plants. And so that's a really good source if you decide that you want to bring plants into your home. Step 298, free animals are not free. Animals can tend, especially dogs and cats, can tend to cost a lot of money just off the get-go with getting their shots and vaccinations. Step 299, find the right vet for you. Step 300, don't be afraid to talk to your vet about the most cost-effective options. Step 301, buy decent food for your pet. And step 302, treat your pet for fleas, especially during the summer months. Step 303, pay attention for signs for your pet may be sick. Step 304, consider pet insurance. And this is the last thing that I have to say about pets. Pets, a decade or more commitment. So when you decide that you want to get a pet, really make sure that in the next 10 years, you don't plan to travel the country where you couldn't take a pet. So don't just think about today or tomorrow. Think 10 years out if the cat or dog or the animal's lifespan is 10 years out. Step 305, this is about just general maintenance. Clean out under the burners of your oven if a lot of oil or food has spilled down there. You do not want to cause a fire. Step 306, pay some attention to your fridge. Fridges are notorious for growing green things, and so just pay some attention to your fridge. Make sure that it's keeping your food cold. You do not want to get sick because you have food spoiling. Step 307, don't put hair down your drains. You will be calling a maintenance plumber for something that could have been avoided, and it will cost you money. Step 308, being healthy is actually pretty simple, if not easy. Step 309, never start smoking, and if you have, quit. Step 310, keep an eye on weight gain. Step 312, find a couple of healthy things you can cope with snacking on in lieu of the delicious, yummy, high-calorie, high-fat stuff. Step 313, pay attention to your portions. Step 314, find exercise you like. So not everybody likes being a runner. Not everybody likes lifting weights. You can find exercise. Maybe you're a yoga person. Maybe you like to ride a bike. Maybe you like to ride a bike outside because it changes scenery. And maybe you might not want to ride a bike outside, but you might enjoy a standard bike inside. Step 315, do consider taking vitamins and probiotics daily. Step 316, when you get a prescription, read all of the enclosed information. I've seen this in my family. Sometimes prescriptions have side effects. So take, for instance, someone who I'm related to took a prescription that actually had the side effect of a cough. Well, then next thing you know, that individual was going to the doctor for the cough. Obviously, the cough meant that the prescription did not work for him. So that's always good to always read all the enclosed information. Step 317, don't time travel on the weekends, especially if you work an 8 to 5 schedule on the weekends. And what I think they mean by time travel is to, travel to a place where they're 2 or 3 hours ahead of where you are, because it's hard to adjust back to our time frame schedules. Step 318, wash your hands really and don't touch your face. So that is so relevant to today. Step 319, keep hydrated, especially when you travel on airplanes. Step 320, wear sunscreen or stay in the shade. We probably all learned that lesson. Step 321, if there's an optional choice you're making that's hurting your body, knock it off. Okay, so that was all about maintenance. Now we're going to run into some steps in adulting for friends and neighbors. Step 322, assess honestly your own friendship needs and wants. Step 323, decide that you are going to have an amazing group of friends. Step 324, go to places that have the kinds of people you want to be friends with. Then ask them on a friend date if they're even vaguely promising. And step 325, if you like them, announce your intentions to be friends. Step 326, find friends through your other friends. Step 327, if you and your friends are all want to expand your, and step 328, which I think is just the basic of being a good human being, is to be nice to people. And those steps 322 to 328, I think are really important in this day and age, because so many people are friends through social media, and it's really hard and intimidating to have face-to-face friendships. And it's also especially like if you're a first-time person and, first time moving to a new town or a new school or starting a new school. These are some basic tips that can help you find your niche with your social circle. Okay, step 329, find a 30-something older friend that can kind of mentor you and guide you. Step 330, that's like if you're in your late teens, early 20s, that's the audience of this book. Step 330, if you haven't seen someone in a while and you miss them, spend 30 seconds to reach out rather than anguishing about the lost friendship. Step 331, do well in your long distance friendship. Step 332, be a fun thing initiator. Step 333, if there is something you want your friends to do and it's important, spell that out ahead of time rather than being angry when people fail to read your mind. So let's just say that you're going to St. Louis with a bunch of friends and you want to go to a baseball game, you want to go up into the arch, and you want to go walk down by the riverfront. And those are the three things, that your friends had planned to do. and you also want to go get ice cream at a famous or well-known ice cream place, but you don't express that and to your friends as kind of something you want to do, and then you don't do that while you're over there and you feel like you missed out that opportunity, unless you have told them that's something that it's important for you to do, they can't read your mind. So if there's something that you want or something that you want to do with your friends, let them know. And if you don't have time, that's fine, but at least let them know, try to plan it out, and if time, works out, then you guys can express your wants or needs with your friends. Step 334, pay attention to how your friends show affection. Step 335, tell the people you love why you love them. Step 336, for goodness sake, keep your friends' secrets. And that is what being a friend is all about. Again, we'll continue with friends and neighbors. 337, don't gossip about a friend with someone who doesn't love him or her as much as you do. Step 338, don't for long-term kind. Step 339, monitor your friendships like you do your romantic relationships. Step 340, do not treat your friends like your unpaid life coaches. Your friends aren't there always to solve all your problems, but you can always take your problems to your friends, but you don't want to burden them with all of your problems. If you can't go to your friends, I understand, what's friends for, if you can't lean on them, but just make sure that you're not overburdening them with needing help. Step 341, be supportive of depressed or broken-hearted friends. 342, celebrate your friends' big milestones with them, even if some very, very small part of you is jealous. Step 343, think long and hard before you agree to be a bridesmaid or a groomsman. I didn't put that in there. Step 344, when your friends have kids, it will change your friendship. But on 345, you can still have a friendship, even if it's just a little bit different. Step 346, remember that your new love interest is only moderately interesting to your friends. Step 347, don't date your friend's ex. Step 348, tell your friends the truth about important things. Step 349, if a friend is blanking up their life, open your mouth and tell them. Step 350, end a friendship if need be. Step 351, when faced with a frenemy, determine what type it is. Step 352, decide whether there are deal breakers at play. And continuing in the last screen on friends and neighbors, step 353, don't bicker on Facebook. 354, learn to apologize. 355, graciously accept apologies of others. And 356, do not graciously accept apologies for the same transgression again and again. So, everybody makes mistakes, and it's very important to learn how to apologize, and it's very important to accept apologies. But there is a point when the apologies are for the same thing over and over again. Don't allow that cycle to happen. 357, if you really can't accept an apology, then let them know in a calm way. 358, find a strong, deep sea of insincerity to be sort of sweet to people you dislike. Step 359, the first time you see a new neighbor, introduce yourself. Step 360, follow standard escalation procedures with neighbors who are doing wrong by you. Step 361, be a good neighbor, a quiet neighbor generally. Step 362, if there is an issue with a roommate, discuss it calmly and do not allow pressure to build until it explodes. So say you have a roommate who maybe wants to borrow your stuff and they don't return it. You need to address it right away and just say, hey, I don't care if you borrow my stuff, but you need to return it. But if you just let them do that behavior over and over again, you're going to get more and more upset about it, and then you can explode. So don't allow that to happen. Step 363, don't leave passive aggressive notes for your roommates. 364, leave before things become unbearable. So you can still leave on good terms. 365, be the kind of friend that you want to have. And that leads us into love. And so love is like the biggest chapter that we have. We'll have 5 slides on that. So some of this is about big love, some of this is about little love. So bear with me. 366, accept that heartbreak is inevitably and human, is to be experiencing it at least once. Don't unnecessarily cause others heartbreak. Don't perpetuate or cause your own. Step 368, love is still always worth it. Step 369, be cool about being single. Sometimes that's the best way to be. It's sometimes the most uncomplicated way to be. Step 370, learn to enjoy your own company. 371, ask someone out. 372, don't be friends with someone you're romantically interested in, hoping they'll change their mind. 373, just because someone rejects you does not automatically make them a bad person. 374, don't be unkind to someone because they're not interested in you. Step 375, meet in person as soon as possible. And then that way you might know whether it's something to pursue or something not to pursue. Step 376, say something but not too much about yourself in your profile. Step 377, don't disparage on the app or the process in your profile. Step 378, don't fret if there is a lag in communication. Sometimes communication doesn't come naturally. You may find some common ground. Step 379, be flexible, not flaky. Step 380, meet for something quick in public and have it out. Especially ladies out there or anybody that might be vulnerable, the best way to meet someone for the first time, especially if you don't have mutual friends or don't know each other well, is to meet in public. Step 381, be present with your date. Don't be on your phone scrolling through your social media app. Step 382, pay your half on the first date. Step 383, be kind, but be honest but kind if you're not interested in someone. Don't lead them on. Step 384, those apps can make possibilities feel endless. And like no one person matters all that much, but this is not true. Step 385, friends with benefit situations can work, but only if the following conditions are met. Mutual respect, no desire to date, and doesn't hurt anyone's feelings. Step 386, it doesn't have to be a walk of shame, it can just be a walk. Step 387, if you hook up with someone the night before and they're being anything besides gracious and awesome the next day, blank them. Step 388, if you've been sexual with someone, treat them with respect and kindness. Step 389, don't kiss and tell unless it is with your closest friends. 390, if hooking up makes you feel bad about yourself, don't hook up. Step 391, don't use your sexuality as a weapon. Step 392, don't be a piece on the side. Step 393, don't date someone you're not crazy about or who is not crazy about you. Step 395, don't get into something you already want out of. Step 396, chemistry matters. Step 390, don't just meet up at a bar, don't just meet up at a party, actually go on a one-on-one date and get to know each other and be alone. Step 398, don't get drunk on the first date. Step 399, hold your cards close to your chest, at least at first. Step 400, do be yourself on dates. Step 401, do give the necessary disclosures before or concurrently with any discussion of exclusivity. Step 402, don't discuss past loves too much. Step 403, don't assume you're dating exclusively unless there's been a discussion. Step 404, beware of the dangers of new boyfriend Narnia or girlfriend Narnia and limit your own disappearance. Step 405, your significant other is not your best friend, girlfriend, or boyfriend. Step 406, be cool doing things on your own. Actually cool, not just saying you're cool. Step 407, do not date someone because of what dating them says about you. So don't just date someone because they're the most popular person in town, because that's what you want to be associated with. Date someone for true feelings about that individual. Step 408, treat good personhood as a basic dating qualifier. And that goes a long way. I think that everyone, it should spend time with a good person. And if you, that can just carry someone's credentials and kindness a long way. We all want to be around kind people that are, kind to other people. So a good personhood is a basic dating qualifier. Step 409, ask yourself if you could happily chat with this person when you're 80. Step 410, before you get in too deep, make sure you want similar things. Step 411, don't date someone who's mean to you. Step 412, know that it's not always easy or fun. Step 413, don't try to change people. 414, it's about you two and what you want, and that may or may not be what we traditionally think of as a relationship. 415, don't undervalue the importance of sex in a relationship. Step 416, say what you want in bed without shame or fear. Step 417, have frank discussions about possible consequences of sex with the people you're sleeping with. Step 418, fight like a grown-up. 419, hold off on the big stuff in ascending order. Living together, pets, mortgages, children, until you are really and truly positive about that person. Step 420, if you do get engaged, do not announce it to the important players over Facebook. So if you get engaged, you do not want your grandparents or your parents finding about it over Facebook, or brothers or sisters or your best friends. Step 421, you don't get veto power over their friends, sadly. 422, make peace with the closest friends and family members. Step 423, all of the aforementioned must go both ways. Step 424, don't stay with someone because it's emotionally convenient. 425, start an emotional distancing process a little bit ahead of time before you would break up with someone. Step 426, breaking up with someone in a kind yet direct way. Step 427, do give an ultimatum if that's what matters. Step 428, but if it's truly over, don't give reason. 429, you do not need to worry right now about whether or not something is abusive. If you have those questions, you can and you should get out. So if you're wondering if someone is being abusive to you, chances are that they are. And that's when you should get out before it escalates. Step 430, if someone is breaking up with you, do your best to walk away with your dignity intact. 431, don't expect closure ever on anything. Step 432, do not talk to someone who has broken up with you. If someone breaks up with you, just give time for you both to separate. Don't talk to them for a while. I mean, eventually that time will come around, but the more you keep talking to them, the more it may not be good. Step 433, if need be, have your friends spread the news of the breakup. Step 434, give yourself forgive yourself if you go a little crazy. You deserve that. Breakups are not always mutual, so if it makes you a little upset, that's fine. But you need to know when to bring it back in. Step 435, remember that your ex will never, ever again be a source of that feeling that you felt. Step 436, don't rush to replace someone if you're still really hurting. Step 437, don't shit talk your ex in public. Step 438, be cool with your ex continuing to exist. They are going to continue to go to maybe some of your favorite places. They are going to continue to pop up in conversation with other people, and they are going to continue to date other people as well. So you need to be cool with your ex existing, maybe still in your social circle or in your town. Step 439, someday try to be friends. And 440, whoever you're dating, be on each other's team. Okay, so that was a really in-depth on love, because I think love can tend to be a little on the complicated side. So now we are going into our second to last chapter, which is called Times Were Tough. Step 441, keep your cool and don't fall apart, at least until afterwards. Step 442, most things that feel like an emergency or disaster age 21 or 18 or 25 are not actually an emergency or a disaster. Step 443, keep a few items always available for wardrobe malfunctions. Safety pin, thread and needle, buttons. Step 444, own at least basic first aid supplies. Band-aids, Neosporin, bug bite, cortisone, aspirin, ibuprofen, Tylenol. Step 445, actually clean your cuts. Don't just suck on them and wipe them on a napkin. Step 446, deal with little burns. Step 448, think about a little fireproof safe. You can do a lot of things with fireproof safe. If you have a lot of cash on you, you can put your cash in it. You can also put like your birth certificate, your social security card, any insurance papers, and then that way, if for whatever reason your building or your house catches fire, those kind of documents that are hard to replace would be safe. Step 449, if the opportunity arises, take a first aid class. Step 400, I'll go back to that. So I had to give CPR about 2 years ago. The last time I had taken a first aid class was 20 years ago. So I feel like I jumped into action and was able to give first aid, CPR. I did at first kind of forget one step, and when I figured out it wasn't working, then I remembered what to do. But it is a lifelong skill, and you just never know when you may use it. So that's a really important step. Step 450, have some basic provisions in your car. One thing that I always have is an ice scraper. I found a blanket that you can actually plug into your, well, it's like used to be for cigarette lighter that you can plug in there. So if for some reason you were on the side of the road, say in a snowstorm, or you're really cold, have a blanket with you. Sometimes in the winter, I'll keep some water and granola bars. And then there's always at your strap or bust a window if you would need it. Step 451, do not roll around with less than a quarter tank of gas. Step 452, get AAA or some sort of roadside assistance. When you get insurance for your car, sometimes it is included, some kind of roadside assistance, so you may want to ask about that. Step 453, get renter's insurance, which is very reasonable. Step 454, take pictures of your nice things. Step 455, keep your cool in a car accident. Nobody likes to be in a car accident. So it is really important, even though it's kind of a big deal when you have a car accident, not to point blame. Work with the police, work with the insurance, and realize that you and the other. 456, understand your health insurance and what you are covered for. 457, know that some serious medical warning signs are. Step 458, know when to call an ambulance. Step 459, keep in perspective when you get injured. Step 460, please, please, please be careful with opioids. If you have some sort of surgery or you have an injury and you're given painkillers, stay on them the least amount of time possible. 461, reach out to someone who has gone through a similar injury or sickness and grab a book on the subject. 462, keep an eye on your mental health while you heal. 463, if you need counseling but can't afford traditional methods, there are other resources available. If you're a student at Run Lake College, you can reach out to an advisor. There are a lot of 800 numbers. You can call the local health department, and they can maybe even put you in the direction, or even a local hospital may have some resources as well. Step 464, say the right things when someone has suffered a loss. Step 465, you don't really need to know what to say. You can just listen. Step 466, write a decent condolence note to someone who has lost someone. Step 467, when someone is in the grief, let them be in their grief. Step 468, if someone invites you to a funeral, you need to have a really compelling reason to skip it. Step 469, a miscarriage should be treated like a death. And 470, same with an abortion. Step 471, be cool when you're a friend at the hospital and a doctor or nurse comes in. You should actually, it's kind of common sense to leave the room. And if you're not done visiting, wait till the doctor or nurses leave, and then you can go ahead and go back in the room and visit with your friend. Usually when doctors come in, they're going to talk about personal items that maybe your friend may not want to share. Step 473, be actually helpful to your friends rather than vaguely helpful. So if a friend, be vague about do not be vague about how you want to help. Say, hey, you're down and out. I know you need your lawn mowed. Let me mow your yard. Don't just say, hey, call me if you need some help. That's like the hardest thing for people to do is actually ask for help. So if you're going to offer help, give them 1, 2, or 3 items of things that you would like to do. I'd like to help you out. I'm going to tell you 3 things I could do to help you out. Will you please pick one? Step 474, breathe slowly. Think about things before you jump in. Step 475, you can feel whatever you need to feel. Some people will get it and others won't. Talk to the first group of people that get it. Step 476, you will almost certainly have a lot of guilt, and you can acknowledge these feelings without giving them the weight of truth. Step 477, try to eat and drink and sleep, especially when you don't feel like it. Step 478, follow your gut when it comes to commemorating and celebrating them. Step 479, watch for signs of complicated grief. Sometimes we can become so overwhelmed with grief, we don't realize what we're doing to ourselves. We don't realize that, sometimes when you have grief, you're sad, you cry, and you kind of get over those emotions or those actions and you go on. But then there's other signs that can pop up, coping skills, panic attacks. Those would be signs of complicated grief. And when those happen, you would want to call and talk to a counselor or maybe even your general practitioner. Step 480, Nothing seems to be past tense about your relationship. It endures. Step 481, if it's you who's had a hard time, accept that love and help graciously and gratefully. Step 482, don't drink and drive. And yes, tipsiness counts. If you just have 1 or 2 beers, but you still feel kind of loopy, do not drink and drive. Step 483, if you need legal help, ask around for a good recommendation. Step 484, know that there's often legal aid available. 485, pick your battles with the police. 486, know how to share bad news. 487, discuss will and estate issues with your parent. Step 488, if there are serious complications or squabbles within the family, you may need to hire an attorney. Step 489, make a will. And that leads us to our last chapter, which is families. And we're going to have to go through that pretty quickly. We have less than 15 minutes left. And I know I'm going through this really fast, but each of these steps in this book has more details following and kind of breaks them down and explains them a little bit more. Step 490, bring as much grace to bear as you can when you interact with them, with your families. Step 491, remember that you're the one who's changed, not them, and the burden of providing that growth is on you. Step 492, understand that as much as they want it for you, they may also need to mourn your independence a little bit. Step 493, be aware of what it means to them to be an adult. Then highlight those elements of your life as proof that you are a grown-up. Step 494, do not accept money regularly from your family. Step 495, there is a difference between turning to your parents and relying on your parents. Step 496, pick up the tab sometimes at restaurants. Step 497, parents have first names. They have secrets you will never know, and they do not exist as an extension of you. Step 498, get to know your parents or your other family members as people. Step 499, remember when you talk to them that you are not the only person with a life. Step 500, call home as much as you can. Step 501, while you can and should assert your independence, let them know their input and opinion still matters to you. Step 502, send them cards, maybe with a recent photo of you and your friends. Step 503, let them live vicariously through you and share your triumphs freely. Step 504, no one ever will set your boundaries for you, so learn to set them yourself. Step 505, with a given relative, figure out what you can and can't do. 506, graciously deflect them when they overstep their bounds, power over your life decisions. Step 508, use and instead of but. 509, you don't always have to pick up the phone and deal with things right then. You can take a bit of time to figure things out on yourself or for yourself. 510, and if you are staying with them, don't regress. 511, take everyone's wishes into account and then set your own schedule. 512, if you're a child of divorce, do not twist yourself into knots to make everyone happy. 513, figure out how to make yourself an adult part of the celebration. 514, be a good house guest when staying with relatives. 515, if they drive you nuts, get a hotel room or stay with a friend. 516, if you know you need it, build in some time and space for yourself. 517, before you move in, have a long, difficult conversation about what you expect and what they expect. 518, if you are living with your parents, they control what happens under their roof. They do not control you. 519, do non-monetary things to help out. Do the dishes, switch the laundry over. Step 520, get out of the house and go do things if you're living at home. Step 521, when someone is in the process of becoming family, make them feel especially welcome. Step 522, trust the judgment of the person who is bringing them into the family. 523, it's okay to feel apprehensive, but try to be enthusiastic about new people, at least on the surface. 524, you don't have to be best friends forever. 525, if you do have a serious concern about the person, voice them to your relative. Step 526, you can and should remain in touch with former step relatives if you want. Step 527, when you are the new guy or the girl in the family, do some chores. Step 528, suspend judgment on the family you're entering into. All families are different. Step 529, decide consciously that their dysfunction and their chaos is not yours. Step 530, if someone is constantly passive aggressive, act dumb and take them at their word. Step 531, when a family member hurts your feelings, do not strike back with the same. 532, if they won't have a conversation, disengage. Step 533, before you write someone off, completely make sure that you've had a serious talk first. Step 534, you do not owe them your presence. 535, recognize that family is like love, a huge pain in the ass that's worth it a million times over. So that is all of the steps. And I just want to conclude that you are already more of an adult than you think you are, truly. Please be gentle with yourself and give yourself credit where credit is due. Be good, be decent, be responsible, be kind, and don't forget to send your thank you notes. And that is the conclusion that is actually written by author Kelly Williams Brown at the end of this book. So I just wanted to know, do you guys have any questions? This can be some question and answer time to go over this book, or if you want to talk about any of the steps.
Read it.
What's that?
Get to read the book.
You can't wait to read the book?
How long did it take you to read it?
Oh, how long did it take? Oh, I probably sat down and read it in 3 or 4 nights. It's a really fast read. And there's even some pictures, as you can see. Have you started reading it, Christian?
Another book, and when I have more than one book at a certain time, I just can't keep them straight. I'm actually reading a book that's called The Underdog Advantage. It talks about how there's so many underdogs that have like taken over the world, and it's really inspiring.
Oh, that's a neat book.
Graziosi.
The Underdog Advantage.
You borrow it after I am done with it.
Okay.
Did you get to read it? Did you get to read I know that you read Rachel Hollis's books. I don't know if you got to read the Dave one yet, but I have that one too, and I already read that.
Yeah, my daughter has her books, so I will eventually probably read those. So one of my favorite books, and I like to read it quite often, if not every year, every other year, is Don't Sweat the Small Stuff, and it's all small stuff. And there's
I've never heard of
that. Spin-offs to that, like, yeah, and it's very fast. Like, it's 10 chapters, and each chapter is only like a couple of pages. It's 10 pages, so it's 100 pages long. But it's just about what you should be upset about, what you shouldn't let upset you. And it's just kind of like, it kind of goes with the same chapter as Get Your Head Right that they talk about in this book. But it's a really good book. My dad bought it for me. I think it was like right after college, when I was getting into the world and I was having all these different dynamics. You know, I had relationship dynamics with my in-laws. I had relationship dynamics with people who I was working with and how to manage those dynamics. and what I should get upset about, what I shouldn't worry about, because some things people worry about, but you can't change. So why are you spending all this energy on things that you cannot change? So that's a really good book, and it's called, what did I say it was called? 10 Things.
Also,
Don't Sweat the Small Stuff. Yeah. So that's a really good book. And it's an easy, fast read. I can sit down and read it in 1 or 2 days tops. And I'm not a fast reader. So any other thing you got going on? Anybody else have any questions? I'm not sure if our other guest joined us and stayed. I don't see her. So
she's on mute.
she is. Okay.
Sorry, I'm in the office. No, I thought this was-
Okay. Hi, Hillary.
I'm actually an HR director for multiple not-for-profit agencies, and we've been toying with the idea of coming up with a short class. Kind of wanted it to be fun about basically adulting exactly for our staff, because a lot of folks come into
Right. Yeah.
not knowing how to be a good person or
Yeah.
have priorities and all of those things that are real important to just be a good person, which in turn makes you a good employee. So yeah,
Exactly.
I'll get this book.
I will go ahead and type my email address out here, Hillary. If you ever want to contact me, can you see that?
Yeah.
Newella@rlc.edu. Like I said, I'm an HR generalist at Renlee College as well. So if you have any HR questions. The hard thing about delivering this presentation was just, I felt like it was very repetitive. But it was more to give the students and the community exposure to this book, to get some interest in it, because I think it's just a really good book that a lot of people, like, I always go back to everything we learned, we really did learn in kindergarten, like keeping your hands to yourself, being a nice person, and sometimes I think even as adults, we forget about those qualities that we need to have. Like you said, if you're a good person, you're going to be a good employee. So can I ask where you work at? Are you like in Southern Illinois or?
We're in Centralia.
In Centralia, okay, all right. So yeah, I agree with you 100%. Sometimes we got to go back to the basics with employees and what is or what is perceived to be going in our lives or even in our work lives. So hopefully this this workshop has helped you. If you ever want to bounce any ideas off Hillary, feel free to contact me.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, well, Christian, are you taking classes this summer?
Except for I changed one this for the summer semester. Yes, I'm taking earth science and speech too, and I'm taking actually servant leadership right now, which is an extra class, and it's like for extra CPDU hours.
Okay.
And it always looks good on resumes.
Sure.
That stuff does for sure. So but yeah, that's what I'm doing.
Well, I'm available via email, and we're not going to have students on campus this summer. 3 weeks. We're going to slowly integrate individuals who work normally on campus, employees back. We're not all going to show up on the same day. So I think I'm going to be in that first wave to go back. So if you need anything, you know how to reach me. So I just want to thank you all for attending the workshop. And if you ever have any feedback, you can email me, and I'll be glad to answer any of your questions. Okay? Thank you.
You have a great rest of your day, everybody.
Okay. Nice to meet you, Hillary.